it's Michelle Pippin with Women Who Wow, the premier online networking and mentoring platform for the seriously driven woman entrepreneur. And I am so excited to be with you guys for a kind of a signature Facebook Live training. I am talking today about the Women Who Wow way, 10 breakthroughs for wild success, regardless of industry, circumstance, or your starting point, where you are right now. So I am thrilled to be here talking with you guys. And once we get started, we are going to dig into these 10 breakthroughs. If you want I think it's like 7,000 word special report for this, you don't have to join any list. Just email me, message me, m.me/womenwhowow, and you can get the report for free. There's nothing that I'm selling on here. Of course, at any time, if you identify as a seriously driven woman entrepreneur, I really invite you to reach out to me about joining Women Who Wow. Now is the time, and it's going to be a wild ride for the remainder of 2020, and I mean that in all of the best of ways. So before I get started, I guess I want to really implore you to kind of suspend suspicion for a little bit during our time together. I just want you to understand that the principles that I'm going to be revealing here, they work as principles do, regardless of who's applying them, where they're being applied, or any of that, right? So I want you to kind of suspend your suspicion or your judgment, perhaps, of yourself, your judgment of what you haven't done in the past, things that you've tried and have failed. I really want to use this time together to empower you to simplify success. I think probably the most important thing for you to know is actually breakthrough number 10. That was not by design. But it's essentially talking about how success is not mysterious, right? You don't have to get a success shaman or a do a money dance or anything like that. I just want to simplify financial business success for you and fully empower you to run this race your own way, right? So if you actually take action on what I'm going to be talking about today, then you are going to see a lot of things change in your business. Yes, you're going to make more money, but there's other aspects as well, like the disrespect you might see from your market, right? Like the disrespect of people ghosting you, the disrespect of people not responding to your emails, the disrespect of people trying to get you to charge less as if they help set your fees. There's a lot of that goes on as well. And so these principles not only help you become more successful as a business, right? More profitable as a business, but also help you do business in a way that does not feel like something you are desperate to take a vacation from, that you're desperate to retire from, right? So that is so actually much more important to me than the money aspect. However, I don't come from money. And so, money is important. Money helps us, money decides what kind of health care we can afford. Money decides what kind of school our kids get. Money gives us options, right? And so I'm not going to sit up here and say money's not important. I have had money and I've not had money, and I like having money better. But also, in terms of profit and income, I firmly believe that your income should be and can be a accurate reflection of what you're putting out into the world, an accurate reflection of the service that you are providing, right? So as we go on, if you have any questions, definitely put it in. I might not read it right away, but I will read it. I'll scroll back through and I will answer it. I'll try to do that in maybe every breakthrough or two, right? I'll try to answer those questions. So definitely put those in. Even if you're watching the replay, I will be watching this live stream and connecting with you guys and answering your questions. If you do not have your special report, then all you have to do is message me, m.me/womenwhowow. You won't get sent a link to join my list. I would just shoot this right over to you. It's a link because it's too big to just put through the email. So with all of that, let's go ahead. I want to say a couple more things. So one, I'm not selling anything on this live stream today. I really invite you to rest a little bit so that you don't think that there's some big pitch at the end. I haven't choreographed this live stream, in case that's not going to be obvious, right? But I haven't choreographed the live stream to build up to something. I don't have a bunch of testimonials lined up. None of that's happening. This is a pure training. In fact, I invited my Women Who Wow members who pay for membership to join me on this public training networking because it is something that reminds us of the basics and reminds us of what's most important anytime. And so anyway, I just thought it was a really good time to do this. And frankly, as I was putting together this 7,000 word report, it's daggone near like a short book, but I think it's some of my best work. And so I really want you to know that I'm not trying to sell you anything. You can take the principles that I'm teaching here and they're outlined in the report, and you can take the DIY approach. I often do take the DIY approach. So whatever you choose to do is absolutely fine. But I want to say for our new people, most of what you hear about business is wrong, right? That's why there is an 80% failure rate. That's why 4 out of 5 businesses that open their doors, close their doors. Those 4 people are talking to each other. They're networking together. They're giving each other advice. And the other 20% of businesses, the businesses that are profitable and succeed and create wealth and even generational wealth, we do things differently. And when you look at the numbers of women entrepreneurs who are even earning 6 figures a year in their own business, when they're writing the paycheck, right, they're deciding what they're worth, only about 10% ever get there. Within the walls of Women Who Wow, over 70% of our women entrepreneurs are earning more than 6 figures each and every year, and some are earning a lot more than that. This is no coincidence. This is the Women Who Wow way, and that is what the special report breaks down for you. Now, the third thing I want to make sure that you hear from me is that everything I'm going to talk to you about, all 10 of the breakthroughs, the analogies, all of it will pass your BS meter test. All of it will pass muster. All of it will make common sense to you. It won't be, I'm not going to be asking you to believe something that doesn't make instant common sense. So if you act on it, if you do the work, then this is going to work for you. So, breakthrough number one. Breakthrough number one. Your income is absolutely linked to your identity. Here's the thing about identity. We all have like our own kind of normal, right? Like we all have our own normal. And if you don't believe this really applies to business, we're going to get there. But like we all have that size pants or dress or whatever that we will never go above, right? Literally, like we would just not buy new clothes rather than go above that. Or a number on a scale that when we see even like something inching close to that number on the scale, we're done. The weight's gone. Like we're just getting serious about this, right? It could be a number, how many dollars in your bank account. Like if it gets close to this, then I'm really, I'm going to start putting more money in, right? Or even back in my day, when, I had sort of, and I don't recommend this, right? I'm not giving financial advice, but, I would, I'd be late on some bills, right? So but I would try not to be 30 days late. I didn't want to report to credit or, those kind of things. We all have sort of our rock bottom, our normal, what we will allow for ourselves. Right? And if you look at somebody who has like the thing that you want, whether it's a relationship or a body or a business or whatever, I'll tell you that it looks easy for them because they have aligned that outcome with who they are as a person, right? Now, I cannot fathom, seriously, being disrespected by a man. I don't know, it just didn't even enter my awareness of something that could possibly happen, right? Like I was raised by an amazing dad. I'm married to an amazing man. So I don't see a lot of disrespect. I carry myself in a way and my identity is such that I have amazing relationships with men that are mutually respectful, right? For people who are always have an amazing body. Like my aunt is, I guess she's my great aunt. So she's probably 80, I guess, right? And she is like super fit as a fiddle. She always looks amazing. She's always the exact same size. But let me tell you something. That's part of her identity. She'll have like a bite of a dessert and it's not like she's like holding herself back all the time. This is just part of her identity. Also part of her identity, actions, right? And so your identity is very tied to your income. Your income is never going to exceed what you view as normal for you. Now, You might say, well, no, Michelle, that's happened. I've had huge influxes of income. Well, honey, I have too. But I quickly saw that I would have a big leap in income and then I'd go right back down. Why? Because I viewed that big launch income or whatever as like extraordinary, as something that didn't always happen for me. I viewed it as something like super duper special, and I put it on this pedestal. And so it's no wonder that I went back to my normal, right? I never really integrated new levels of income and new levels of success into who I was, right? So quick note, whenever you reach a new level of business income, whenever you reach it, do not wait to see if that's your new normal. Write it in. Work hard not to be so excited about it. Don't get like ungrateful, but work hard not to make it extraordinary, not to make it something that is never going to happen again, right? Work hard to put it in a category in your mind, in your brain, that's like, it's just totally normal for me, right? So I have a few tips that I use to make sure that I'm always, one, aware of my identity. I'm not in the let me go find myself camp. Like that, I can't stand that, to be honest with you. And that was like really prevalent a few years ago. I'm in the I create myself brand new everyday camp. That's the camp that I am in. So I have a journal prompt. It's in your report if you want it. Just message me about the report. But I have my favorite journal prompt is it's normal for me too. But I want to give you a caveat to this journal prompt because it makes all the difference. I do write out, it's normal for me too. I write my new normal into existence. But I don't just write out outcome goals, like it's normal for me to weigh X, or it's normal for me to earn and receive Y. I don't just write out the outcome goals because that does not do the trick, right? I also include process goals. I also include process goals of it is normal for me to crave whole foods and eat to fuel my success. It's normal for me to move my body every day. It's normal for me to sell every day. It's normal for me to follow through on my business goals. It's normal for me to reach out to new people. Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't just want to journal out your outcomes because that actually separates you from the goal itself. It's like, and it can feel kind of fake or inauthentic, right? And so you want to, when you're trying to upgrade your new normal, you want to make sure you're including outcome, like result goals, as well as decision and choice goals. Like it is normal for me to X, right? And so the other thing is I want you to, if you want to elevate your income, you need to identify more with people who are at that income. And I go into a lot more detail about this in the report, but it's important for you to find people who are achieving at the level that you want to achieve at and watch them without judgment. That's the hard part, right? You want to watch them without judgment. You want to raise your awareness of people who are achieving at the rate that you want to achieve, right? Like I will never forget when I started deliberately seeking out millionaires as an example. And then I started deliberately seeking out people who made $1 million a month. I wanted to find out, what did they do, right? Like, what do they do? What was their daily life like, right? And so in the beginning, I would it was almost like I would look at those people and I would immediately rule myself out. Again, going back to identity. Well, I'm never going to be that. I'm never going to do that. I'm not going to travel like she does. I'm not going to do this, right? And so when I started twisting that around and I started saying, this is an example of what's possible. And I don't have to do it that way. In fact, I shouldn't do it that way. I've got to build it on my own terms, right? That's what Women Who Wow is all about. Not just wild success, but wild success on my own terms, doing it my own way, right? So I'm going to move on because I don't want to, I'll go a little bit more into identity for a second. And by the way, in your special report, absolutely free, just let me know you want it, there's a link to a full training on what I'm getting ready to go into, which is about choosing your identity in the marketplace and positioning yourself as someone who should be paid, a lot more money, right? So your income is always going to reflect, as an aside, your chosen identity in the marketplace. And there's so many different ways for us to show up. What I find is when women are struggling with the sales component of business, right? Has nothing to do with how amazing they are, has nothing to do with how effective their products are. 9 times out of 10 or more, what they're struggling with is they're showing up, they're speaking, they're pricing, they're showing up in ways that say, I'm worth considering. I'm a cheaper alternative. I'm a different option. You know, they show up as like a peer, commiserating with their peers. They show up as like I do that too, right? They don't ever show up with the positioning of, you get X by coming through me, or you don't get X at all, right? Like they don't show up in that regard, right? And this is a choice. We have a chosen identity in the marketplace, and we need to be very, very deliberate about that. So when you consider your identity and how it's tied to your income, you might want to think about, are you showing up as a leader in your market? Are you showing up as the best option for a certain market? Are you showing up as a force to be reckoned with, somebody who's excited to get you on their calendar? Or are you showing up as somebody who can be canceled on 15 freaking times and you're just grateful to be considered, right? Are you showing up as an ambassador of your own brand and purpose? Or are you showing up, in some other way, right? We're just like happy to get the leftovers and the scraps. If you want your market to see you as a leader, if you want them to respond to your messages, to respect you too much, to ghost you on your offers, if you want them to feel excited about the opportunity to work with you, you've got to first cultivate that identity within yourself, right? Another journal prompt, I am, and then write it out. Do a full page, right? Be sure to include true and real I am statements and aspirational statements. Side note, I am not in the camp of taking your aspirational statements and taking it to market as if it's already true. That stuff drives me freaking nuts, right? We don't want to lie to our market. The first test of whether you publish or say something should always be, is it true? Right? But in our own work, mindset work, we do want to have I am statements, some mixed in, some true things like I am stubborn, I am determined, right? I am born for more. And then also some aspirational statements, things that you're working towards, right? Now, in the report, there is some special reading and watching, including a full training on positioning. And that is probably one of my best trainings I've ever done. So you want to make sure, if you want to start there with regards to breakthrough 1, you want to do that. All right, breakthrough 2. You've got to have a message for your market. Now, I have written and spoken on stage, on video, like relentlessly about content marketing. And if I were to compile all of that like into this video, we'd be here for like 15 hours. I just want to hit the high points. Messaging is simply a conversation. Content marketing is just a conversation. Don't overthink it. Don't make it so much more important. Do not overthink this. It is simply a conversation. To make content marketing generate cash, it has to include 2 things: cornerstones and constancy. Now, your cornerstones are 3 P's, right? Your cornerstone content should make very obvious your promise, your purpose, and your people. The special report goes into a lot of detail about each of these, but those are the cornerstone pieces of content. Your promise, like Domino's Pizza, they deliver, right? They deliver hot pizza fast. That's their looks like my connection went bad for a second. I'm paraphrasing, but that was Domino's promise, and they became quite famous for just a simple promise, right? So we got to consider, what is your promise? For me, I work with women entrepreneurs to help them create wild, unreasonable success on their own terms. In other words, not giving up their life to do it. So for me, I know my promise. You've got to decide, what is your promise for your people? It doesn't have to be some outlandish promise. It doesn't have to be like fancily worded. It just has to be something that people can count on, right? So I don't say I help you achieve mediocre success on your own terms. And I don't say I help you achieve wild success, but at any cost, right? Like that would just be anti the Women Who Wow brand. But what is your brand's promise? What do you promise people? That needs to become a cornerstone piece of content. In the report, I have a lot of examples of this. The action item is simply to create one blog post that details the end result that you create. The second part of cornerstone content is your purpose. This really goes into more detail beyond like, I help women entrepreneurs make more money on their own terms. It's really like, what is the why behind that? What is the heart of your brand? What are you really here for? I actually got some negative, almost sad feedback when I published an article about the fact that I'm not really about building business. And people are like, oh my God, I was kind of disappointed to hear that. Like, entrepreneurship for me is simply a vehicle to women living fully empowered and fully expressed. Right? And so entrepreneurship is the best way I know to do that. It's my chosen vehicle. And so, but the purpose for WOW is much deeper than that. It's all about living fully empowered and fully expressed. If you are not able to make your own money, if you have to depend on some outside source for money, you're not fully empowered, because that, you got to know you keep a roof over your head, right? And if you are living and you're making money, but you feel like you can't really let your full self be seen, you're not being fully expressed, that's really the why. That's the purpose behind Women Who Wow. So second action item is go into more detail about the purpose behind your business. Again, the report has some examples here. The third piece of cornerstone content is your people. This is really fun, actually. You've got to have a piece of cornerstone content that details who you are for, right? From the very beginning of Women Who Wow, I knew one thing. I was not going to stand at the helm of another women's business organization that let everybody in, and there's a bunch of people in there kind of playing business, and the real serious ones didn't really fit, so they never came back. I was not going to have any part of that. That was like, I didn't know a lot when I first began, but I knew that, and that's why I grew by print invite for the first 18 months. That's why I was very, very deliberate about rolling out the red carpet for the driven entrepreneurs, right? And I immediately and boldly laid out a vision for them. And those like playing business, like the hobbypreneurs, those that make excuses, they need not apply, right? So you've got to roll out the red carpet for your people. So that's the third action item on content. I am not going to spend a lot of time on the constancy part of your messaging to your people. I won't do that, because you'll hate me for it, but that's okay. Your message to your market should be ongoing, right? Now, you think of it like any other relationship, right? Any other relationship, you've got to have an ongoing conversation in some way, shape, or form. We can have digital conversations. We can have, remember in the days of pen pal, we can have written conversations. We can, have in-person conversations. Business relationships are no different. We do not want to apply a separate set of rules to how we grow our business than we do how we grow our plants, how we grow our marriage, how we grow our bodies, right? So if you wouldn't relegate your conversations with, say, your husband, your wife, your best friends, if you wouldn't relegate it to a set formulaic scheduled Tuesday talk, then don't do that to your market. Stay engaged. Keep writing. Keep showing up and speaking to them. Content marketing is little more than a conversation that serves your people. So the cornerstone content is important. And the report actually details out all the action items of that. But the ongoing conversation is what's going to set you apart from everybody else, right? When you show up and talk to your people, you develop a lot more intimacy with them, right? One of my best compliments I get is when people meet me for the first time in person and they say, oh my God, you're exactly the same as you are online. And I'm thinking, well, of course, what else would I be, right? But they see all different parts of me because they see me on different days. They don't just see me when I'm dressed up, fancy. I've actually posted a picture of what I'm actually wearing right now on my Instagram. I don't know my Instagram link, but I'm there under Women Who Wow. All right, so I do want to move on to breakthrough number 3. Breakthrough number 3 is success requires mental toughness. I want to detail 3 ways or 3 steps to begin to create mental toughness and a confidence that just won't quit. But here's the thing. 1, it sets you apart. When you are mentally tough, when you are truly confident, that gets attention. It's nearly an act of rebellion these days, right? To be immune to criticism, to have other people's opinions truly not really affect what you do, right? And this is not something that all of us are born with. This is something that I think we're born with different levels of this, but it's something like any other muscle that we can build and perfect. So whether you call it confidence or self-assurance or mental toughness, your ultimate success is going to demand it. Demand it. Because if your confidence or your toughness or your boldness, if it is dependent on how many likes you get or how much attention you get from the market or how many atta girls you get, if you are forever seeking outside validation, approval, and affirmation, then you're going to be rocked. Your world is going to be rocked every time that these things don't happen. And the entrepreneurial journey is not for the faint of heart. You've got to be able to withstand the peaks and the valleys, right? You've got to be willing to be rejected 20 times a day, right? Without it affecting who you think you are. You have to have this tough, kind of thick skin, right? And so the truth is, we cannot afford to get lost in this world of circumstance watching. I'll feel good about myself. I'll keep selling if this happens, or approval chasing desperation. We cannot burden our businesses. Like, we're the leader of our business. We cannot burden our business with the desire or the need to be approved, to make friends, to have somebody give us an atta girl. When we start putting our own self-esteem and self-worth on our business is no longer functioning the way it should be functioning. Our confidence should be settled ahead of time. It should be settled before we go to market. That does not mean that you have to fix all your mental stuff before you go to market. It does not mean that you've got to be, whatever you consider perfectly confident before you go to market. It just means that you're not going to look to the market to make you confident, to make you mentally tough. You're going to work on that separately, right? Work on it on the same day. Confidence, mental toughness is an inside job. The moment you look outside of yourself to build your confidence muscle, you're already off track, right? You are already off track. So how do you build your confidence muscle? Here's the thing that I included in the report. So the first thing you got to do is you have to decide. You have to decide that rock solid confidence is up to you, and it is entirely up to you. It's an entirely inside job. And therefore, your confidence and your mental toughness is independent from anything else. That means that you don't put your sense of self on the chopping block of today's circumstances, right? Circumstances are things that you consider, right? That you consider them because you're a realist and because you are an accurate thinker. But they don't determine what you think of yourself, right? The second step is you declare. Daily if you have to, but you've got to declare and affirm that it is now normal for you to be supremely confident in all the things, right? Journal prompt for you: I am confident because, right? Let me see. No, that won't work. Okay. And the third step to building unshakable confidence, defiant confidence, is derail all thoughts of not enough, right? This is the lie of the devil himself. Truly and literally, you are absolutely enough. So when thoughts of not being ready, not being enough, or whatever else start to come into your mind, train yourself to go back to declaring yourself supremely confident. I'll give you a quick, if you are addicted to pornography, raise your hand if you're addicted to pornography. I'm kidding. Okay, if you are addicted to pornography, then, somebody might encourage you to wear like a band, right? A band around your arm, a rubber band or something. And anytime you had thoughts towards pornography, you would like pop yourself, right? You'd pop yourself and you would come back to another thought, right? So this is the same exact thing. Most of us, a lot of us, are addicted to thoughts of why not us, right? Why we can't do it. And so I want you to really dig deep into this, right? So you first decide, then you declare, and then you derail all thoughts. When thoughts of not enough come in, you stop them at the door. Hey, I am supremely confident, and here is why. So toughness and confidence is like any other muscle. It must be built. And I know there's a book called The Confidence Code. I haven't read it, but let me tell you something. When you crack the confidence code like this, you only need to crack it once, right? You only need to crack it one time. All right, breakthrough number 4, success requires a success philosophy, right? I believe that success is sort of our natural state, but it doesn't just happen. There is a success philosophy, and make no mistake, there is a failure philosophy. A philosophy for success begins with the foundational belief that you are not a feckless victim of your circumstances. If this were the case, right? If you are a feckless victim and things just happen to you and there's nothing you can do, if this were the case, Oprah Winfrey, Jim Carrey, Brian Tracy, Howard Schultz, Ralph Lauren, and many more names that you know would still be poor. And in case you were wondering, they're not, right? So you want to make sure that you are not beholden to a belief that you are some sort of, impotent victim to your circumstances, right? Now, there are certain things that we have to acknowledge, right? As an example, we might need to acknowledge a lack of resources. But a success philosophy acknowledges that as something worth considering, but then gets creative, right? When circumstances are tough or hard, a success philosophy is just asking, okay, well, given that, what do I get to do now? What do I have to do now? A success philosophy refuses to allow you to just shrug your shoulders and remain stuck, bemoaning your situation, telling the same old sad and tired story week after week, after month, after month, after year. That is a failure philosophy, right? Where you are controlled by external circumstances. I'm not going to bemoan this point, but successful people are challenged by circumstances and failures are controlled by them, right? So I don't know what circumstances are troubling you right now. I know we're all in like one big giant circumstance with the current situation, but what if you viewed all of the circumstances that you find troubling as simply information worth considering? Just one part of the puzzle. What if you were unstoppable because no thing and no set of things can deter you from the path that you're on? Couple journal prompts: because I am unstoppable, I will, and because I am destined to succeed, I will. A lot of times I will write for like a half page or a full page because, I get beyond like my conscious programming, right? Like my what I think I need to say. And then some real stuff comes out about what I might want to do or what I might need to do. Breakthrough number 5. And if you guys had any questions, please let me know. Let me see if anybody had any questions so far. So I'm so excited to see you all here. Heather, Barbara, Michelle, Kelly, Ashley, Barbara, Tammy, Danny, Lisa, Kelly. Okay, so I'm excited that you're here. Edie, I'm so excited you shared it with your team. I love all your pictures. You look so different in all of your pictures. I unfortunately look the same in all mine. And my father-in-law is on here. Hey, Richard. Hey, Yomi, Lindsay, Brenda, Lori. Lori, if you'll just message me, then I m.me/women who wow. I'll get you that report. Hey, Deborah, I've missed you. Hey, Carol. Hey, Michelle. Barbara, it's an act of rebellion. Absolutely. Hey, Deanie, she's in my neck of the woods. All right. Heather says Satan is a liar. Danny says confidence code depends on others conferring confidence and power. I'm not sure if you're referring to the book or what. So, and hey, Kristen, who just popped on. All right. Breakthrough number 5. Success requires simple systems, right? If you had told me even 2 years ago, that I would be speaking often about systems in business, I would have assumed you'd never met me. And you certainly never came in my house or really knew me. But I'm sort of this fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl. I believe that success is cooked up in a messy kitchen. I've made absolute peace with the fact that I'm going to die one day with a messy desk and an undone to-do list, right? So systems, I would have never thought I'd teach so much on systems. Not my thing. Except one day I realized that I actually did have a bunch of systems. 7 systems. The simplest of systems, mind you, right? Because you never want to build complication or complexity into your business. What is simple gets done. What is complex and what is complicated gets postponed, right? Those are the things that you kind of push off. Yes, I thought you were referring to the Confidence Code book because I think it's entirely a flawed premise that somehow our confidence is an outside job. So I'm sure you and I are the same on so many things. I thought that's what you're referring to. But let me tell you the definition of systems that I found in the Webster Dictionary, which I freaking loved because this is me. Webster defines it as a set of principles according to which something is done, an organized scheme. So I have that in spades, right? Principles and schemes. And while I've literally never had a business plan and still don't, I do have a collection of 7 schemes that keep this business running beyond what would be considered a well-paying job, right? Like I have systems in my business that don't just keep the money coming in, but also make it so much simpler, right? Most days I can be done by 10:30 or 11 in the morning. Now I do wake up at around 5, but that's including like coffee and Bible time and, journaling, and all of it can be done really early. And it's because I have these schemes, these systems, right? Barbara, you are a Women Who Wow member. So in the report, there's an actual link that will take you to the 7 systems training. You just click on it and you'll have all the systems right there. But here's the thing. I want you to consider in your business at least one scheme or one system to start with, right? And I'm going to go over briefly in this training the systems that I have in my business. But for anything that you want to happen consistently and easily, right? No drama, no headache, that kind of thing. For anything that you want to happen consistently and without drama, you need a system or a scheme. So as you're thinking about what systems you need, consider what is supposed to be happening with regards to that. Like, and when and by who is that happening? What is the measurable purpose? Right? What is the measurable purpose? If you do not know why you're doing something and it's just like this vague hope that it's going to do whatever for you, like that's a waste of time. Frankly, it's like you think about if you were in the Great Depression, right? Like every dollar had a purpose, right? And nowadays we need to consider like every action we take, if it is business related. I do a lot of things just because, right? But if it's business related, you got to know why you're doing it. If you don't know why you're doing it, there's no way to measure whether or not it's working for you, right? So we've got to hold our actions accountable for producing some sort of result. So the second question is, what is the measurable purpose of what you're building the system around? And what are the rules, steps, or sequence of steps of how things should happen? Now, don't get complex or complicated. Avoid complication like the plague. And here are the 7 systems that I have in my business. You can consider one or more of these. You might not need them all depending on your business or your, what industry you're in or whatever. But I have a marketing plan, obviously. This is how I continuously generate new leads. I have a content plan because that is the fuel for my marketing engine. So this is how I plan, create, curate, and syndicate all the content that I do. I have some amazing trainings for content there's links in the report, but also, for members, I have additional trainings on that. The third system I have is my sales plan, my sales scheme, right? Basically how I turn interest and leads into clients and cash. I have a media plan, so how I deliberately insert myself into the national conversation. This is not just like media, like TV. Like I did a TV interview yesterday. It's not just that. It's also how I can get into other pockets of the world that may not have heard about Women Who Wow yet. I'm not talking geographical pockets. I'm talking like groups, industries, other associations, that kind of thing. I have an outreach plan, which is slightly different than marketing, but it's focused on women leaders. For me, I have an outreach plan. So that is exposing Women Who Wow to women leaders who they themselves run groups of women entrepreneurs. I have a measuring plan. Now, this is critical. We have to have a plan for how we're going to measure our success. And if you don't know how you're going to measure, there is no way for you to get very deliberate about how you're growing your business. Here's the thing. When you lack a measurement plan, then you lack the ability to know if what you're doing is working, and you end up doing a lot of things, most of which aren't working, and you become overworked and underpaid. So a measurement plan is critical. And I also encourage you to have an access plan. And that is like, who has access to you, when, how they have access to you, and how much. So these are the systems I have. They're all outlined for you in the report if you want it. But I want you to consider which systems or which schemes, right, organized schemes that you should have in your business. Breakthrough number 6, she who knows her market most intimately succeeds. This is something else I've written extensively about. So I have a couple links for you guys in the report about like, how to tell if you know enough about your market and what you should be knowing about them, what you should know about them. And but here's the thing. Unless you know your people intimately, then there's no way to speak to their hearts, right? There's no way for you to be expressing stuff that they've been thinking but have never had the courage to shine a light on. There's no way for you to write sales copy that grabs them by their souls. How can you anticipate objections or create hell yes offers if you do not know your market intimately? Right? The action item for this is you've got to get to know your market. You got to listen and watch them. Let me tell you something. I spend equal time, at least, watching you guys on Facebook mainly, because that's where I hang out, than I do creating my own content. It is equally important for me to watch you, for me to listen in at what you're saying, about what you're not saying, about what makes you mad, about the things that surprise you, right? Like I'm always watching you guys. And so I kind of now regret saying that. That's not in the report. But I spend a lot of time watching. And it's because I want to hear, I want to get to know you better, right? It's kind of like when you have a baby and, you never get tired of watching them do like the most basic crap, right? And so in business, it's like you should love your market and you should be drawn to know them better than anybody else, because at that level, you can serve them better than anybody else, right? You want to know what they want, what they secretly want, what their fear is that they're not really acknowledging, what holds them back, what excuses are true but not necessarily deal killers, what excuses they know aren't true but they're still using them. You want to know how they talk to themselves. And by the way, these are all things, we don't need complicated surveys for that. We need conversations, and if your people are online, look at what they're saying and what they're not saying, right? You don't just want to talk at people. A lot of people, going back to the content marketing piece of this, but a lot of people think that the point of content is to create content, that somehow more words or more videos or whatever will magically create money for you. And there is something, consistency does let you stand out and stand apart from the people who are kind of phoning it in. But if you're just talking at people, you're just adding to the noise, right? You're just adding to the noise. Like, I know that Women Who Wow members, while we're super diverse in every way, like I know that we're united in our drive, but also we feel purpose driven. I know that one of the secret little frustrations we have is that we see other people succeeding financially in areas that we're not, and we're better than they are, right? Or we're more experienced than they are. These are things that not a lot of people talk about, but a lot of Women Who Wow members will acknowledge that they have a little bit of an angst when they see other people succeeding and you're better than them, right? So you don't want to talk at them. You want to get to know them so you can really talk soul to soul, so you can build an intimacy. In the report, I have several other resources for you there along those lines. Breakthrough number 7. Success tolerates no cowardice. No cowardice, right? Success requires courage, but anywhere that courage is necessary for success, so messaging, selling, consistency, positioning, pricing, longevity, investing in yourself and your business, anything that requires courage. Let me tell you, confidence cowardice can and will seep in. So think about, I think I said the opposite. Anything that requires courage, like investing in yourself, investing in a coach, investing in a program, investing in an event, longevity in business, staying the course, pricing according to what you know you're worth, like all of those things take courage. And anywhere that courage should be reigning supreme, cowardice has a little bit of a way in. It creeps in kind of insidiously, right? So I want to talk about, I'm losing battery. I want to talk about what cowardice looks like in business so that we recognize it when it shows up. Because it never comes in like, let me make you more cowardly, right? It shows up differently. And also I want to talk about where it comes from. So today I'm going to cover like both of those. So cowardice shows up looking like reason or wisdom, and cowardice always promises next time, right? Always promises next time. So it's the thing is like, it's with pricing, or you're getting ready to do a launch or whatever, and you have people talk about like, well, maybe I'll just do a free beta launch, or maybe I'll do this, or maybe I'll do my coaching for free for 15 years before I finally, next time, next year, next certification, I'll start charging what I'm worth, right? It comes in the form, and I have a few examples in the report, but it comes in the form of like reasoning and wisdom, but you can always tell cowardice is knocking at the door. Right? Like, you can always tell cowardice because it always promises you next time. Cowardice never comes in and shows up and like starts to talk in real like terms directly about playing and pricing small. It always shows up with the compromise of promising yourself, next time you'll do it, Michelle. You listen, not this time, not this year, not this event, not this offer. No. Next time, Michelle. That's how cowardice shows up, right? Next time, tomorrow. When things are better, the kids are older, money's less tight. All these things are the whispers of cowardice. Do not be fooled, right? These are the whispers of cowardice. If you can agree with me, type or tap love hearts or something, right? I want to know I'm not alone on this. You want to be very wary of the whispers of cowardice because they sneak in without us knowing. Now, where does cowardice come from? Where does cowardice come from? It comes from comparison, wrong influences, and fear and doubt. That's where cowardice comes from, right? So an action item for you. The next time you're tempted to compare yourself to others, I want you to stop. I want you, instead of justifying why they get to do X, Y, Z, I want you to turn it around and say, why not me? Why not me? Right? And so the next time that you know your cowardice is coming from the wrong influences, the people who encourage you to keep playing small and keep doing a new certification and keep doing this, I want you to think about the wrong influences. When you know that wrong influences, people who either don't know what they're talking about or don't have integrity with what they're talking about, then I want you to refer to breakthrough number 8 and 9. We'll talk about that in just a second. But if you know that they're for wrong influences, you got to really obviously consider who you're listening to. And if you are experiencing cowardice because you personally have fear or doubt, I want you just to go back to breakthrough number 3 and get it right. You're in control of how you believe about yourself and how you carry yourself. I want you to go back to even like breakthrough 1 and then breakthrough 3 to really get your identity right. All right, so let's go into breakthrough 8. Success and failure are contagious. They are super, super contagious, right? As we do this training, as I finalize this report on the 10 breakthroughs, like we're all sitting home, we're on lockdown in the United States of America and nearly every other country in the world. We're on lockdown because of a virus, right? And it shut down the world's economy. But let me tell you something, all viruses are contagious, but they're not the only things that are contagious, right? So success is contagious and so is failure. And that is why I talk so often about finicky association. Right? Now, this is easy for me, admittedly. I don't have really big social needs, right? That's not how I live my life. I'm kind of a lone wolf. But we all have people who are influencing us, and we all have people who are close enough to us to either convey a success contagion or a failure contagion, right? So this is how that works. The habits that create success or failure are very contagious, right? Successful people have active habits that build success. Those who fail have a more finely tuned habit of making excuses and waiting next time, right? The boldness that success requires is absolutely contagious, and so is timidity when it comes to failure. So are you hanging around people who are bold and courageous? Are you hanging around people who are not accepting no for an answer? Are you hanging around people who are actively part of the game? Or you're hanging around people who are spectators of the game? There's a lot of entrepreneurs who pretend they're in the game, but they're just playing. They're playing. It's like fantasy business to them, right? But there's a difference of being in the arena, right? You want to hang out with people who are bold enough to be in the arena. Pace that creates success. and the pace that creates failure is absolutely contagious. Now, I'm not talking about a fast pace, although I do believe that that success likes quickness and speed, but I'm not talking about a pace of your life, like a frenetic pace. That is never going to be me. I'm never going to be rushing from place to place. In fact, when people say to me, I know you're so busy, I always am like, no, I'm not, because if I'm busy, I fix that really fast. I don't like to be busy, but my pace is always right now. I'm always going to do what's required right now. My pace is always focused. It's always intentional, and success loves a consistent pace. Failure, if you hang around a lot of people who are contributing to you not reaching your goals, they are tolerating your stop and go and your fits and starts, and they don't care. They're not like pointing it out as weird. If you're hanging around people who are contributing to their success, they're going to watch you. Like, they're going to be almost like marveling at your willingness to keep impeding your progress and the stop go thing you keep doing, but they're not applauding it, right? They're looking at it like with curiosity. The persistence and stick-to-itiveness, no matter what mentality, is very, very contagious. You have got to cease association with people who let you quit so easily, with people who are like, oh, honey, don't worry about it next time. That's cowardice. And it can come in the form of friends or family or whatever. So here's the thing. I want you to make a list of who you hang out with most and consider their habits regarding their business, their pace, their boldness, and their persistence. Are they coddling you as you play small? Are they echoing the voice of cowardice? Oh, girl, next time. Oh, you've got time. Next year, this, when the kids are older, whatever, right? Are they coddling you playing small? Or does their own success challenge your thinking, your habits, and your action? I can tell you there's one group that I put myself in where I am so the small fry. I get nervous every time I walk in there twice a year. I am the smallest fry in there, and yet, you know what? Like, they are building me. They are pushing me. They don't know it. I'm not saying that to them. But like, I know it, right? And so we want to put ourselves in a greenhouse that is helping us succeed. All right, so I have a lot of resources on that, including a lot of information about Women Who Wow, actually, because we benefit by being in this greenhouse for success. And let me tell you something about Women Who Wow if you're not a member. We benefit equally from the people who are within the walls of Women Who Wow as much as we benefit from the people we don't let in. Right? Because we cannot tolerate but so much cowardice and waiting and stuff like that before it becomes contagious. Breakthrough number 9. Mentors move mountains. Mentors move mountains. I'm going to ask you something. Do you have a real mentor? Not a program in a box, not even a business school who hired employees, coaches, employees to coach you through a program, but a real mentor, somebody who knows you, knows your business, your goals, and also knows your go-to excuses, right? These are the true things that are your excuses, the reasons why you haven't met or exceeded your goals, as well as the other mental junk. So do you have a true mentor? Because I've had a couple of mentors in my own journey, and I will never again be without one. They challenge me. They see things that I'm too close to see. At times, they believe in me more than I believe in myself. Mentors help illuminate the answers that you already know, probably, the simplest and quickest path forward, and the skills and gifts that you need to put more on display. They remind you of the hard truths, like when Steve Chandler told me, nobody's coming, Michelle, it's up to you, right? And so, in other words, saddle up, grab your sword, and get back out on the battlefield for another day, right? Nobody's coming. This is up to you. This is your custom creation. Some people forget that Women Who Wow is a mentoring platform for the seriously driven woman entrepreneur. It's mentoring. Like, there's twice a month time with me. You just have to schedule it yourself around your own schedule, right? And so if you want to join Women Who Wow, definitely message me about that. I'm very present. It's very high touch. You won't disappear without me noticing. There are people on this call right now and some people who are going to be watching the replay. I came looking, right? I'm emailing, I'm messaging, I'm checking up. I'm busting your chops a little bit about Facebook, on Facebook. So if you are looking for a mentor, I would love for you to consider Women Who Wow membership. Breakthrough number 10, success is never mysterious, ever. And as I wrapped up the report and this training, like I was trying to figure out like what I could say that would make the biggest difference, what I could say that would shortcut your journey to the success that you want. And what if like you and I never meet, we never talk again, right? And this is what I really want to end with is I don't want you to let anyone ever convince you that success is mysterious, right? In fact, it's anything but this. Oops. Okay, it looks like my connection went out, but it's back now. So you didn't miss anything. I stopped talking. So success is anything but mysterious. Success is visible. You can see it. It's replicable. And it's predictable in this way, right? And so if they can do it, you can do it because success is visible and replicable. I have spent over $100,000 on my own mentoring and programs and events and stuff like that. But let me tell you something. I've saved a lot of money too, simply by watching, right? Because success habits and actions can be seen. And I've always been a student of humanity. I've always watched what people did, not necessarily what they sold or what they told me to do, right? You can learn an awful lot by ignoring sales messages and paying close attention to the always visible actions that are related to success. In fact, a lot of times if somebody says, I can't, I don't know, am I still frozen for anybody? I don't know if I'm still frozen. Let me look on here. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure if I'm still... Oh, okay, good. So I'm not frozen anymore. Perfect. All right. There's so much of a lag. So, anyway, it's like maybe a 60-second lag, it feels like. I do not want to see the freeze frame, Danny. Okay. So I forget where I was. I know I'm talking about success is not mysterious. I've invested a lot of money in my own coaching and mentoring. But here's the thing. When people say to me that, they can't afford Women Who Wow membership. It's less than $2 a day, but okay, whatever. And so, they can't afford Women Who Wow membership. But I'll also say, fine, watch me. I'm visible. I'm present. I'm here every single day. Watch what I do. If you can't afford the mentorship that comes along with Women Who Wow membership, that's fine. Just watch from the outside. And I encourage you to do that with anybody you're watching, right? With anybody you're watching. A lot of success, most of success is actually visible if you know what you're looking for, right? So here's the thing that I want to talk about really quickly before we leave is not only can you learn a lot from watching, but you also want to assess your own actions, right? You want to make sure that the daily stuff, the stuff that you do every single day, that the natural, normal, logical outcome of those actions is you reaching your goals. So consider this, insert your goal, losing 15 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever. Is this the normal, natural outcome of the actions I took today? So when you apply that to your business, tell me if nothing would change for you, right? Like I do this every single day and I ebb and flow and tweak and adjust every single day. I insert my main goal is getting X number of members for Women Who Wow. Is that the normal, natural outcome of the actions that I took today? Right? This is not mysterious stuff. You need no success shaman or, saying like a magic prayer or a money dance. You simply adjust and you make sure that your actions, this is simple, it's not mysterious, that your actions are actions that logically, naturally produce the goal that you want to produce. There's no mystery. And so I just want to make sure that no one convinces you that there's some mystery to creating success on your own terms. Truth is, we live in a cause and effect world. So the effect you're going for is X goal, and you get to be the cause to make that effect happen. All right, guys, I am at the tail end of our hour-long training, And I'm so excited to have you guys here. I'm excited for you guys to watch the replay. If you want the report, you just message me m.me/Women Who Wow. Same address if you want to talk to me about joining Women Who Wow. I'd love to welcome you properly. And if you have any questions about any of this, just message me or put a comment below. And I look forward to helping you create the 2020 that you've been planning, maybe for like 5 years, right? A lot of times we rehash the goals we didn't reach last year and we put them on a new year. So your 2020 goals are still possible for you. Let's make them plausible, and we'll just keep hustling together. Talk to you guys soon. Bye. Bye, guys.